All right. Happy Thursday, viewers. I am author Sierra London, and welcome to Women on Words, the podcast where we talk life, love, and literature. And tonight's guest is author Kelly Violet. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you for having me so much. I'm really appreciative for being here.
Yes, we are glad to have you on the show. So, before we go any further, I do want to encourage all of you all to go out. If you haven't read the Lunchtime Chronicles, get out there. There are 10 new books for season 4, featuring authors like Can You Write, author Zyla Turner, Keita Kendrick, author Elle Loren, Posey Parks, and of course myself, Sierra London, writing as London. And also this Sunday at 3 p.m., we will be back with Book Chat, and we're going to be reading a holiday anthology featuring Theodora Taylor. So join us at 3 p.m. right here on our Facebook channel, Women on Words. And if you haven't liked and followed the page, please do. We broadcast here on my Sierra London page and as well as YouTube. But if you want to ask questions, hop on over to our Facebook page, Women on Words, type your questions, and I'll be able to see them and you can communicate with the author. So, with that being said, Kelly, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about you? Who are you? How long you've been writing and what you write?
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly Violet. I am a fairly new author. I have been seriously writing since 2015. I have several books out now. I consider myself a new adult romance author as well as steamy contemporary. So I have both. I have books now in those two subgenres mostly.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now tell me, what got you into writing? What made you say, you know what, this is going to be my creative outlet?
Yeah. So I have always been a writer, I would say. When I was younger, I would write poetry, slam poetry. So I'm originally from New York.
Okay, go
So,
ahead. No, we like slam poetry.
yeah, maybe some people wouldn't consider it slam poetry, but putting all of my emotions in there. So I would write poetry and also song lyrics.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I got through a lot of the emotions that were inside, as well as reading. So I have been a romance reader since I can remember. I love reading about love. And so at some point in time, I got it in my head that I could write my own stories. And, there were just some things that, we all have to work through. And so I find those going into my stories. And so a lot of especially my new adult reawakening series, this is the first series that I completed. We all have series rolling around in our heads, but that's the first one that was able to get done. Those all have very angsty stories, very angsty themes. And so a lot of that also comes out of, and a lot of my new adult books also have the song lyrics and some poetry. So I came back, it came back to writing all of those from when I was younger.
Now, I have to ask you, because oftentimes authors will find that their first book is autobiographical. Like you pour a lot of yourself into that first book. And with you starting to write relatively recently, like you said, your first release in 2015, and you're, grown and sexy. So what made you start with YA? Like what led you to YA as opposed to more contemporary adult with, a more mature hero or heroine, may I ask?
So my books are technically new adult, NA. I do have one YA book though. But NA for me, so I seriously started writing in 2015, but that book didn't get published until 2017 because it takes a minute for me to get all my ideas out. But for me, I think when I was younger too, I was always interested in those teen dramas.
Mm-hmm.
Again, one of like my tagline is angsty, flirty, naughty. So I like picked the angsty part. And I think there's still a lot of angst and growing pains when you're in your early 20s. So
Yes.
some of my books, yeah, for the NA, some of my books, they might be college age in college, or they might not have gone that route. But the early 20s to mid 20s were what I focused on, especially in the Reawakening series. So there's growing pains. There's, the opportunity for first loves, for first careers, finding your passions and figuring out where you fit in the world. And so that's kind of what interested me the most in writing about, folks in their mid 20s mostly.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Now, did you decide to publish independently or traditional? Tell us about your journey into publication.
Yeah. So when I decided to give this a go,
Mhm.
so like I said, I seriously started writing in 2015. That's when, one of my stories, just kept speaking to me. Because usually I would say I've been writing and thinking about ideas for a decade,
Mhm.
or longer than a decade. But it took a while for me to get the momentum going. And so I think that's what happened with this particular storyline, is that the momentum kept going. But when I moved to California in 2012,
Mhm.
I made a promise to myself to finally start on this journey of writing. So what I did was, those first 3 years is I started going to conferences as a reader. Uh,
Wonderful.
yeah. And I would go to the author track webinars and,
Mhm.
all of their programs, and listen to, how people think about covers, you know, the business of writing. I went to all of those workshops
Yes.
and took copious notes and
Yes.
then went back and, took the things that were helpful to me and set aside the things that I didn't think would be helpful for me. And that's when I decided that I wanted to be in control. For right now, I wanted to be in control of everything,
Yes.
of the entire package. And so that's why I went the route of being an indie author. So I do everything start to finish. I even, for the most part, as long as it's my book, I also do my covers as well.
Yes, I know. And so I'm so glad that you talked about the business of writing, because it's so important when you, like, when those characters start talking to you and speaking to you, it's so important to listen and,
Yeah.
of course, get your story on the page. But it's equally as important to learn the business of publishing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned some conferences that you went to. So, do you want to name a few of the conferences or classes that you took that you felt beneficial? Because it's a question that authors get frequently from novice writers, or sometimes even our readers who are ready to embark on their own writing journey. Like, where do I start, or what can help me?
Hmm. So the conference that I used to go to no longer exists. So I don't know if it's
Okay.
helpful to name that conference. But I also, so I'm a researcher at heart.
Yes.
I like to go down rabbit holes. So for the folks who are just getting started, one thing that I would suggest is, there are writing communities wherever you are.
Yes.
You can even find them on Facebook. You can find them in any of the social media groups like this. So, and also I've read a lot, especially with the business of writing and the business
Mhm.
of being an author. I read a lot of blogs because we also have to, we are a small business.
That is
That's
right.
one thing I had to wrap my head around. And so some things that I started doing, even, when when I got over the hump and I knew that my first book was about ready to be done, I started getting a lot of things in motion. So I did the doing business as.
Yes.
I did,
The
I
DBA.
opened, yeah, the DBA. I did I opened a bank account in that under my DBA so that I could
Excellent.
separate my personal and author accounts and all of those things. I looked really into like Library of Congress and copyright and making sure that, you know, my books would be discoverable for libraries and bookstores. So
Yes.
those are the types of things that I did for myself in looking at blog posts and, you know, hearing about things from these workshops that I attended and then doing my research afterwards.
Right. And how important it is. I'm glad you mentioned the Library of Congress and also, you know, copyrighting your book, protecting your work, your
Mhm.
intellectual property. That's important too. And sometimes because it has gotten easier to publish through the years with some of the vehicles that we have now available to small presses like independent book publishers, but it's still very important to protect your work and invest in protecting your work up front. So let's get into your books. So let's start with, I do want to start with what was the title of your first book?
Mhm.
And tell us about the themes in that book, the hero, the heroine, the theme.
Awesome. So my first book that was actually published in December of 2017 is Touch Me Softly. It's the first book in the Reawakening series. And I would like to say that the Reawakening series is all about, you know, finding your way after trauma,
Yeah.
and also learning to love yourself as you're falling in love for the first time. So
Oh,
that book follows Win and Rafe. And
mhm.
both of them have had traumatic experiences. One was very recently, and the other one was in the past. And so this is kind of the first time both characters are finding love and also working through their trauma at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's all around music as well. So the Reawakening series also follows a couple of members of a country rock band. So I
Oh,
ended up writing 2 songs for the series, one song lyrics, I should say, since I don't play instruments. But so song lyrics for the series, and one of the songs you would find in Touch Me Softly, and that's called Runaway Girl.
oh, wow. That's beautiful. And I love that you touch on love being healing.
Hmm.
Because oftentimes, especially when you talk about young people in that very first relationship,
Yeah.
you can start to unpack a lot of your own issues, you know, in that safe space of
Yeah.
someone loving you,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
When someone loving you gives you permission sometimes to just be your most authentic self. Um, and I love that you're tackling that right off the bat. Now, since then, you've written how many books?
Let's see. So I have 8. Yes, 8 published. So these are novellas and novels, and then I also have 2 anthologies that I'm also in, and one of which is a newer story.
Okay, all right. So tell us about the first anthology because I know there's two.
Yes. So, Cowboys, Boys Behaving Badly anthology was released in October of this year. And so those are 15 short stories around cowboys. So we also have like space exploration. We have some, you know, BDSM stories, some very contemporary and sweet stories. So if you love cowboys, then get ready to giddy up because it's a great read. We've gotten some really great responses from that one.
And that's Cowboys Behaving Badly.
Cowboys Behaving Badly. And my story in that anthology is called Carry Me Home.
Okay. And you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so that was it's kind of quick and dirty.
Okay.
That story follows 2 childhood best friends. They were my character, Shay, she used to vacation and visit family friends in Kansas.
Mhm.
And then, so these were summer vacations that she had, and she basically became best friends with the boy next door.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Love
and
that.
yeah, I do too. But when when one of her parents passed away, those vacations kind of stopped, and she
Mhm.
had to stay in New York for the summers all year round. And so there's more than a decade that passes. Real life happens. She has an interruption in her career, so she decides to go back to Kansas for the first time in 12, 13 years. And she runs into the boy next door, and he is not happy to see her.
What? The sexy boy next door is not happy to see
He
me?
is not really happy to see her. So then you go down that you go down that path a little bit. So yeah, it was a fun book to write. Like I said,
Okay. So when does it get dirty? Since he ain't happy to
I
see
mean,
me.
there's only it's a short story, so it gets dirty very quickly. It was really hard to write a short story. It was really,
You know
really
what?
difficult.
I'm glad that you said that. I am so glad that you said that because writing short is definitely a skill.
It is.
So tell us, how did you do that? Like, how did you go from your fuller lengths that you normally write to really writing short? And you usually don't write really, really hot. Is am I
So my new adult is not hot.
right?
The two steamy contemporaries that I put out this year are hotter, but
Mhm.
this one definitely took the cake. So it was kind of, you had to jump right into it. Yeah, it was quite difficult to write short. I didn't think I would be able to do it, but once I saw the call for this, and then
Yes.
this particular one had an extension, so I waited a while before I dove in. But one thing that I did was I went back to a couple of story ideas
Uh-huh.
to see which one might work for
Yes.
something so short. Because the word limit was 5,500 words. And believe me, I
Wow.
went to that 5,500 word limit.
I have never written that short at all. Look, congratulations,
I
because
really did
that is
it.
something.
Yeah, I know. I don't
Bravo.
know. I don't know if I want to do it again so quickly. It was fun though. But I went back to particular stories to see which ones might work. And what helped me was, again, just like I explained to you, there was some background information. So you knew that they were childhood friends. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't just, hey, I met you for the first time and we're gonna go right into it.
Right.
I personally could not do that for the story to work.
Okay.
I know there are some people who are great at that.
Yes.
But for me, I wanted that background information to be in both of their heads so that when they saw each other, all of those emotions came back up as well as newer ones. So then I played off for all of that.
Okay.
So I think that's what helped me get both of the characters there.
Okay. That makes sense. Now, what's the next book that you have, since you have so much this year?
Yeah, so the next book I'm working on is the second book in my All the Ways duet. So I've released All the Pleasure in July of this year. And so that's the first steamy contemporary that I published this year. And so All the Passion will be coming out soonish. So it's going to be
Goodness.
coming out in the first
Love
half
that.
of 2022.
I love that.
Yeah,
Okay. I love that. Soon-ish. Okay. No more
soonish.
details than that, huh? We're not getting any exclusive this
I'm
evening.
working
Y'all
on
notice
it.
that?
I'm working on it. So
Okay.
for the folks who have read or would like to read All the Pleasure, you'll know exactly who the couple is and All the Passion. I don't hide it from you.
Okay. Okay. All right. And I have to ask you because the title was so intriguing. Masked Up.
Oh, yes. I love
Now,
that story so much.
tell us about that story.
Yes, Masked Up. I actually wrote that for another anthology,
Uh-huh.
but it was a print exclusive anthology for Literary Love Savannah, which is a conference that I go to every year in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
And so they have these print exclusive anthologies that we do just for our readers. And
Okay.
so that book went in there. So after the conference, we could do whatever we want with our books. So I went ahead and published it after the conference. So Masked Up, that's one that's near and dear to my heart. That's about Tasha and Chris.
Uh-huh.
And I went back to my New York roots with that one. This is actually the
Okay.
first story that's based in New York, which most of my stories are not. Um, and so I would say Tasha is also the closest to me. You know, she's a girl from Brooklyn, you know, grew up in the projects. She has that kind of mindset of just working, you know, doing what she needs to do, you know, and she gets to go to a masquerade ball last minute with her best friend.
Okay.
And that's when she meets Chris. And that's kind of one of those instant sparks type of thing. And so they end up spending the day together in New York. And so one of the things around
I
the
love your book.
story,
Uh-huh.
so the anthology, the print exclusive anthology is called Soup Porn. So one of the things is all of the stories in that print exclusive anthology has to revolve around a tailor in New York. And so so there's a really steamy scene around a suit, and the tailor in the suit. So yeah, I really enjoyed writing that story.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. So y'all heard that, right? Masked up. All right. A man in a suit.
If
Sexy.
you like soup porn, I say grab it.
Yes, yes, and we do. I don't know what it is. I love cowboys, so don't get me wrong. Cowboys behaving badly sounds very sexy, but for me, I love a man in a suit,
I do
and I
too.
don't mean one of them ones where his pants riding high and the jacket too tight. I mean like a nice suit.
Yeah, nice cut suit. Like, let me tell you, I went to Italy once, and when I
Yeah.
say Italian men know how to wear some suits,
Oh,
ooh, child, they know how to wear some suits. So I went off of that kind of feeling when I saw some men in some suits. I was like, because not a lot of people that I've seen spend a lot of time in the tailor. We get, you know, I know you've been a part of anthologies. There are some information that we get about, especially if there's a link. So I
mhm.
actually, there's a full scene where they spend time in the tailor and he tries on some suits and she's looking around. So I took that information and really, you know, embedded it into the story, because that's kind of what I wanted. You know, this was Tasha's first experience in a
Uh-huh.
tailor, right? A lot of women don't go into tailors and watch their man, you know, get fitted for a suit, right? So I thought that would be an interesting experience in this book.
Yes, yes, I agree. That is not something that actually I think I've actually only experienced it once in the 20 something years that me and Mr. Austin have been married. Maybe
Mhm.
once I have gone with him to the tailor and watched them measure him out. And there's something sexy about, like them measuring your man's broad shoulders and
Mhm.
seeing him,
You
do his
start cataloging things, don't you?
yeah. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. There's something very soothing and kind
Mhm.
of sensual to it.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I'm liking that. I
So I
like the
hope
way
that came across and masked up.
I love it. So I have to ask this, and I ask all the authors this. So for the readers who are new to your catalog, where would you recommend they start reading?
Okay, so if you like angsty, you know, emotional roller coaster rides, I would say start with book one of the Reawakening series. If
Mhm.
you enjoy steamy contemporary, you know, real talk, sisterhood type of things, because
Yeah,
I do also write really strong friendships in all of my books.
love it.
You could also read All the Pleasure Are Masked Up, because those two, as of right now, they are standalone. So you could also jump into either of those. So if you like angsty or if you like flirty, you can go either the Reawakening series or one of my standalones. But if you like naughty,
Uh-huh.
go straight into Cowboys, because all
Yeah,
of those
we're feeling
books.
naughty this holiday, right?
I know that's right. So it
I
kind of
love
depends
it.
on which track you want to go into.
Yes. Now, I noticed on your website that you have quite a few things planned out for 2022.
I do.
Yeah. So, why don't you go ahead and tell the audience where you're going to be, where you can connect with Kelly Violet in 2022?
All right. So I do not have it pulled up, but I'm pretty sure I have it closely memorized. My
Okay.
first convention is in San Diego, February 19th. So that's through Love and Devotion. So if
Mhm.
you're anywhere near San Diego or you need to take a trip, come see us there.
Trips are good.
Yeah, San Diego is always a fun time.
It is.
I also have a local signing in Irwindale, California. That is going to be March 26th. So
Mhm.
if you are local, that is just a 1 day signing. My next one is actually in Ann Arbor.
Mhm.
That's Dream and Dirty in Michigan. That is April 9th, if I'm not mistaken.
I love that title.
Yeah, Dream and Dirty. Yeah,
Clean and
they're
dirty.
fantastic organizers. So I love going to their events. Um, let's see. The next one I will be at IRAE.
Yes.
That is actually the week of my birthday.
Okay.
And that's 4 days, 3.5 days.
In
I believe it
April.
starts on the 27th through the 30th of
Of
April.
April. I
Yeah,
believe so. I'll be there. So I'll see you at
I will see you there.
IRAE.
Yes.
Y'all, Kelly and I actually met at a book signing.
Yes.
I want to say about 3 years ago, maybe
Mhm.
more now, 3 or 4. I don't know. COVID, all these years running together now. I
I
hate
know.
to
It
say
was either 2018 or 2019 for sure.
Yeah, but we met at a book signing and have been like book friends ever since.
Yes.
Along with Sahara Sandu. So
Yes.
great time we met at the Little Book Bub.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait till they start those up again because I'll sign up for one of those signings as well.
Okay, wonderful. And we're coming to the end of our interview. Tell us where you are on social media.
Yes. So for the most part, you can find me at either
Mhm.
author Kelly Violet or Kelly Violet author. That is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I got Pinterest. I'm also
Yes,
on Radish Fiction. So if you are on
wonderful.
Radish, most of my books, if not all of them, are up on Radish as well. You can find snippets if you are on Verve Romance as well. Um, where else am I? I'm all over the place. So if you just Google Kelly Violet author, there is someone with a similar name and she's a tattoo artist. So definitely put the author in there if you Google me, and you'll be able to find my website, which is www.kellyviolet.com. And you can get to all of my social media from there as well.
Wonderful. So, Kelly, tell us how you're going to spend your holidays.
Oh, I'm actually going back to New York to spend it with my sisters. So
Oh,
that'll be fun.
that's very nice. Now, do you and your sisters do y'all cook or do y'all eat out?
No, no, no. We cook.
You can cook. What's your specialty? Go ahead, drop it. What is it?
I like to say my mom instilled in me how to cook holiday food. I don't know about anything else, but at least holiday food we're covered. I can make a turkey. I can make some mac and cheese.
Okay.
My younger sister is the baker, so she got the pies covered.
Okay.
So we're good. We're good.
Okay. So you're doing turkey and you're
No,
doing
we're
mashed
not
potatoes.
actually. But I know how to make a turkey.
Okay. She said, I know how to make it. I didn't say I was making it, Sierra. You
Not
put
this
words in
year.
my mouth.
Yeah, my sister does a surf and turf. So I
Okay.
didn't go home last year just due to COVID. But
Yeah.
this year she said it's gonna be surf and turf again. So I'm excited for that.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Hmm. And I don't
So
have to cook it. So
I know that's right. So I'm from Florida. Most of you all know that I moved back to Florida last Saturday. So this is my little Jimmy rig set up here. So Kelly and I could meet today. I'm sitting on this stool that's about this high, uh, with a lampshade turned to the side for lighting. So, but we make it work. And
you do.
yeah, and my family normally does surf and turf as well.
Nice.
So yeah. So one last question.
Mhm.
What's your favorite holiday song? Because I know you love music.
Favorite holiday song. Um, this Christmas, I want to say.
Which version?
Ooh, ooh. That's difficult. I'm gonna pass that. I'm gonna pass.
Okay, okay. All right. There's a lot of this Christmas, but I love that song
Yeah,
as
it's a
well.
beautiful song.
So yeah. So I thank you so much for joining us here on Women on Words. I would love to have you back. I am actually starting a new book club thanks to my partner, writer Michelle Ingrid, called the Backlist Book Club, where we are going to actually be talking about backlist books. So it's a great time for us to spend about an hour going in depth in books and breaking them down and what we loved and what we really loved and what we wanted more of. So I hope we'll see all you all back in 2022. As far as our monthly book club, join us right here on this channel this Sunday. So what is that, like 3 days away? I don't know. I'll get all days mixed up, but I think it's 3 days away. And we're going to be reading Meet Me Under the Mistletoe, which is an anthology that features Theodore Taylor's holiday story. So if you haven't gotten Meet Me Under the Mistletoe, it's free, okay, on all the platforms. We're reading Theodore Taylor's holiday story. So join us here, bring your questions, and let's just have a beautiful time this holiday around books, okay? And for those of you who are in town, I'm in Orlando for Book Lovers Con. So we're at the Omni Hotel and we are actually doing a book signing this Saturday and it's free and open to the public. So if you're near Orlando or if you're in Florida, or you're visiting, you're at Disney visiting the Big Mouse, come on down to the Omni for Book Lovers Con. The book signing is on Saturday. Look us up online, Book Lovers Con, CON.com. Get the details. And if you have your books, I will sign them. If you don't have your books, I got them for you to buy, and I will sign those too. So until next time, be awesome, be amazing, be wow. Happy holidays, everybody. See you on Sunday. Bye for now.
Bye.
Hang on the line, Kelly.